Are you excited about the opportunities available through artificial intelligence or AI? Chat GPT recently came out and has just really taken the internet by storm as people are coming up with tons of new examples of ways that they can put AI to work for them. Well, in this video, I want to break down how you can leverage AI with automation. So if that's of interest, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth. I own Gap Consulting, and we've made it our mission to help you get organized and automated with no-code tools. At the forefront of no-code tools is automation, which is exactly what we're going to be breaking down today in conjunction with artificial intelligence. But before I get into the heart of the video, if you're new here or if you're new to automation in general, the best place for you to start out is going to be on my free training. I offer this training if you sign up at garethpronovost.com/webinar-registration, and that training is going to teach you the fundamentals of no-code automation so that from there you can walk away with the building blocks and start creating your own automation to help you save countless hours every week doing those repetitive mundane tasks in the background. So grab that training at your convenience. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the heart of the video where we've got to talk about leveraging Chat GPT, OpenAI, communicating with essentially artificial intelligence and having it do some work for us in tandem with an automation. We're really going to kick things to the next level, and the best place to start is really to get an understanding of what Chat GPT is. So let's go ahead and hop on into my screen and take a look at the interface. This is a paid part of OpenAI. If you're looking to just try out Chat GPT for the first time, I would suggest go ahead and explore the free option. If you check out the chatopenapi.com option, you can just go in here and start talking with this AI. So I can ask it something like, tell me your thoughts about snow. And you put a prompt in there, and basically the artificial intelligence is just going to start thinking in the background and give you some feedback on whatever you wrote about. As you can see right here, it's giving me a response to what I just typed in. Snow is a beautiful and natural occurrence that happens when temperatures are low enough, etc., etc. So it's thinking about this, it's coming up with it on its own, and there's a ton that we can do with this, including creating text documents as well as creating images on the internet. So lots that we can leverage here, but for the sake of our example here today, we can imagine a scenario where we say, hey, we want to create a social media post for a particular piece from our blog. So let's pause real quick and switch back over to my actual Airtable database. So inside of Airtable, I store two big things when I produce new video content. Number one is that content itself. So here I have my content that has been officially published. And then over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see a lot of ideas. So things in the earlier stages that are just in planning, and they eventually move their way into a completed piece of content. Now that's great, but ultimately what we're going for here is there's a linked relationship between my content and my posts. So here I build that linked relationship that I say, hey, I want you to create a social media post that gets sent out to LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and I want to schedule it so I can set up the scheduling time. But what is it that I'm going to be posting about? Well, in this case, it's this piece of content. So again, that's that linked relationship here. So as of this recording on January 6th at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, I set up my system to send out this message. So I wrote this social comment. I said, create an internal intranet for your company and bask in your central source of company truth, beach emoji, and then a couple hashtags, no code and softer. So this particular thing that I'm linking to here is the softer video that we put out recently on December 30th that's all about creating an internal intranet. But what if we didn't have to write that social media post? Planning out that social media post takes a little bit of time for me every day, and I bet I can get this text output, or something even better probably, from Chat GPT. So let's imagine that instead of actually clicking on this particular record and setting up that social media post and then scheduling it to go out manually, what if instead this was all written for us by AI? So first and foremost, let's grab this actual blog post. So I've put up this blog already, right? So this blog, this is a piece of content that I created. It includes the video itself, and then also a briefish blog here that's kind of outlining what we're talking about in here. So what if instead I took this URL, this blog post, and I went over to OpenAI and I started a conversation here, and I said, hey, give me a funny social media post about the stuff that you found on the blog here. So let's go with our first experiment here. Write a social media post for LinkedIn using this blog as reference. And then I'll just paste in that URL. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and see what the AI produces for us. So it's saying something like, this is actually decent first pass. Just read this great blog by Gareth Pronovost on how to create an internal intranet using software. As a business owner, I know firsthand how important effective communication is within a company. Okay, this is already getting pretty long. So a little bit too long for me. So let's see if we can shorten that down a little bit. So I'm gonna say, write a social media post for LinkedIn using this blog as reference. So let's just copy that part again. And then before I send this command in, I'm gonna give it a little bit of extra stuff. So I'll say something like, keep it under 150 characters. Don't reference Gareth Pronovost by name, because that's kind of weird if I'm posting on social media and I'm saying I read a post by me. So let's see if that makes it a little bit cleaner. So again, part of the thing to leverage here with using AI is understanding that we can get better with the way that we communicate with the tool. So now we've got just read a great blog on creating an internal intranet using software, streamline communication and boost productivity within your organization by implementing an intranet. Okay, worth a read and consideration for your business. So what changes can I make to this now? Well, let's see. If I use the same prompt and then I additionally add to this, make this post engaging and playful. Let's see if that produces a better result. I like this. This is pretty good. Maybe I want to clean up the hashtags a little bit. You know, I probably want to add the no code hashtag, but I think you get the idea. The point is, I can go round and round with this chatbot for a while, and it's going to get smarter and smarter, but I'm going to get smarter about how to ask for what I'm looking for. So this is what I'm pretty darn happy with. I like this little prompt. Now, what I want to do is make it so that this particular thing is asked. This prompt is put out there every time I want to create a new social media post. I don't want to have to open up Chat GPT every time and type in my exact prompt. So now that I have the prompt pretty much dialed in, what if I build this into an automation? Now I want to get started using a webhook. So I'm going to add a webhook here, and we can go ahead and set this up with webhooks. There we are. And we're going to go with a custom webhook so that we can add a new hook here. And basically what this is going to do is create like a secret phone number that says, hey, whenever you initiate this automation, it's going to call that phone number and send specific information to it. So I don't have any IP restrictions. This is all good. Let's go ahead and save this. And here is that hook that was created for us. So I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. So now using this webhook, let's go back into Airtable. And here I was on the posts page, right? Imagine that I have a new post that I'm planning out here, and I'll just go ahead and add a new post. Here it is. So I'm going to go back to an old thing that we've already produced here. Here we go. Recent video we did called Ways to Make Money Online in No-Code Consulting. So I'm going to link to that piece of content. I haven't picked a schedule for it yet, but what I want to do is add a button here so that I can initiate this automation to create the social comment for me. So I'm just going to add the button. It's going to be the button field type. And inside of a button, I can assign that URL. So I'll just paste that URL. Now, before I go any further, what I want to add to this URL is a little bit of extra information. So I'm going to say record_ID equals, and now outside of my quotes, I want to add a little bit more information. I want to add the actual record ID of this particular record. So in order to get this information, let's actually copy what we just have in the formula, and I'm going to start with a concatenate formula here. And I'm going to paste the stuff that I just had. So what I've done is I'm saying, take that webhook, and then at the end of the webhook, add a question mark, and we're going to name a new variable, record ID. And the reason this is important is we're going to pass that variable over to make, and make is going to look at that record ID and it's going to know exactly where to go. So now I need to call that record ID. And so I add a comma and I bring in the record ID. This is a unique identification that is specific to this record in my Airtable base. So I'm going to go ahead and create this field. When I do this, I can go ahead and smash that button and it's going to open the URL, which also triggers the webhook. Now, if I go back into make, I can see that, yes, they successfully received something that was sent to that hook. And that's because I just pushed the button from my Airtable base. So now that that's been sent, let's go ahead and take a look at what type of data it received. So let's say OK here, and we're going to actually go ahead and run this module. So it's looking. Let's go back into Airtable and push the button again, flip back into make, and now we see that it received some information. So we've been able to start the automation based on that webhook by clicking the button. And what it received was this record ID. We told it, hey, I'm naming a variable, record underscore ID, and it has this value. So now inside of make, I can go back and say, hey, I want you to look in Airtable now that you've received that trigger, and we want to look inside of Airtable to find that record ID. So let's go ahead and find Airtable here. Here it is in our list. And I want to get a record, retrieves a single record by its ID, and we'll go ahead and pop into the right account. If you have multiple accounts, make sure that you're connecting the right one here. I'm looking for my base, which I have called video content. So here it is. And I want to look in my posts table. There it is. And what's the record ID I'm looking for? Well, we received that as a value in our webhook, right? So here we are. Now that I have this, I'm going to be able to find the record ID that we were looking for. So let's go ahead and click OK here. And I can even say, run this module. And it's going to ask us, well, what's that record ID? Well, for the sake of this demo, I can go ahead and grab this, copy, and paste that record ID in and say, find this record. And it's going to say, okay, I'm going to go look at Airtable and find this. And here's what I find. I find a lot of information about that ID. I see that that particular record is created. It's linked to a particular piece of content called Ways to Make Money Online in No-Code Consulting, which is exactly right. If you recall, let's flip back to Airtable. That's what we linked to, Ways to Make Money Online, right? So the idea here is that we want to push that button and automatically create our social comment. So now I have found what the right record is, right? Now, is there a way that I can take that a level deeper? Is there a way that I can ask OpenAI to create this for me? Let's see. So inside of here, I'm going to create a new module, and I'm going to look for OpenAI. And here it is, OpenAI, Chat GPT, right here, 3 beta. And what I want to do here is create a completion, right? I want to go in and call some stuff. I want to give it some information and bring back some information. So what model do I want to use? I'll leave this up to you, but Text DaVinci 3 is the most up-to-date or is the most current one, but explore them on your own because they all have different strengths and weaknesses. But here's where I want to bring in the prompt. What do I want to prompt this with? Well, let's actually go back to what we had before. This was the prompt that we settled upon when we were just messing around with the AI. So here it is. Let's copy it one more time and go back into make. And now I'm going to put my prompt in right here. Now, the thing that I want to make sure is variable here is actually the blog itself, because every time I do this, it's going to be a different URL. This particular time, when I was doing it manually, I was referring to a very specific blog, but when I automate this, I want it to find the blog uniquely every time. And that's what we've done here. We've looked it up and we have the URL for that content right here. So in fact, I can get rid of the part where I hard-coded a URL in here and substitute it with the information that's in our data. So here I have the field called content URL, but what I'm passing through is the actual blog page itself. So the rest of the prompt is going to stay the same because every time I want to keep it under 150 characters. I don't want you to refer to me by name. I want it to be an engaging and playful post. So all of this sounds right. So default max tokens is set to 16. I'm happy to do 100 for this particular one. Again, I'm going to leave this up to you to determine how many tokens you want to put out there. But the truth of it is these tokens are very inexpensive. I think currently 1,000 tokens are about 2 cents. So it's hardly costing me anything to ping this AI and ask it to write this social media response for me. It's like 1/10 of 2 cents at current rates. So temperature has to do with how many risks this model is going to take. So the higher the value, it's between 0 and 1. The higher the value you put in here, the more risks it'll take. So fairly middle road risk aversion is going to be 0.5. I'm willing to get a little risky, so I'll go 0.7. But again, these are all things that you can play with, right? Decide how many completions to generate for each prompt. Look at your top P, which is an alternative to sampling with temperature. So, I mean, a lot of different things that you can do to cultivate the kind of response you get. Again, I would encourage you to play with this on your own. So now I'm pretty happy with this. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And the final step that we want to take is say, hey, Kate, great. OpenAI, Chat GPT, has created this social media prompt for me, but now I want to put it back in Airtable. So as a last step, we're going back to Airtable and we're going to update a record. What record? Well, of course, it's the record that initiated the entire thing. So first I'm going to find our base video content. Next, I'm going to come into my table and go back to posts. Remember, that's where the record lives already. The record ID, I already know it. It's the same record we've been using through this entire process. It's this record ID, and it's the same as this record ID, right? It's all the same record because it's what's been doing all the work. And all I want to do is update the social comment with whatever the output of this particular thing is. So if I go into choices here, I should only get one choice because of the way I built this particular one. And I think I want to grab the text, but I could be wrong on that. So let me go ahead and put this in as a placeholder. And we're going to give this a run. We're just going to test it out and see what we can get back in working in tandem with automation and artificial intelligence. So let's hit OK on this. Not only do I have to turn it on, but also make sure to save this automation. And if you want to give it a name as well, so I'll call this social media comment from AI. And I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got everything working. It's turned on. And it's scheduled. Let's now pop into Airtable and see if we can push that button. Now remember, we push the button, it's gonna open up a webhook. So it's opening this window, but let's go back to Airtable now and cross our fingers that we get a response. Sure enough, something is being updated here. So if I open this up, we just received this information. Need help scaling your no-code business? Check out this blog for creative ideas on how to generate revenue. No code, consulting, business growth, and it referred to the blog by URL. That is really cool. And now, of course, we have a separate automation, which is going to take this post and put it out into the world, sharing it on our social media sites. So we're literally at the point now where we don't even have to write our own social media posts. We don't need to do any of the hard lifting. It's just build the actual content itself. And as you see, everything was just created for us. Let's actually take one more out for a spin because I want to show you that it will work for any record. So I'm going to go back and link to another piece of content from ages ago, something from November 2022, linking tables in Airtable. All right, so this is a totally different blog. I hit the button and then I pop back in here and I want to see how long it takes. We already have some information here. Let's expand it. And it's saying, tired of manually connecting data sets in Airtable? Check out this guide to learn how to link tables and make your data management easier. I can't even wrap my head around it. In this case, it did not include the URL, but you can see that the Chat GPT is smart enough to actually look at the blog, figure out what it's about, and then write a relevant post to that. I can't even explain how excited this makes me because I'm sure that these tools will just get smarter and smarter, and now we can instantly connect them with automation, and it is going to be an amazing new world. I know we went fast in this video and we talked about some pretty deep stuff and got into it pretty quick. So again, I invite you to come and join me for that training that I mentioned in the beginning. If you are new to no-code automation, this is going to change your life. Don't forget to check that out. I will include links below the video. Of course, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so because we love talking about no code and putting examples just like this into your hands. So do subscribe if this is of interest, and I will see you in the next video. As always, I hope you found this to be extremely helpful. If you did and you'd like to learn more, swing by our website to see how we can help. We offer an exclusive free training that teaches the fundamentals of no-code tools, including automation. We also have some paid services available, including advanced courses, no-code hourly consulting, as well as custom project consulting. So swing on by to get the help you need, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.